Hey, what's going on, my Jets family? How you guys doing out there? I appreciate you guys. I appreciate you guys tuning in. I appreciate you guys being here, being part of the Take Flight Spit and Fire podcast. You got me, Harrison Glazer, always excited to be with you guys, happy and ready to talk to you guys about them Jets. So as you know, it's been a bit of a slow month, right? It's been a little slow. It's the before pads ended. Now we're coming-ish few weeks or so to when pads are going to be going on, and we're going to be seeing training camp happening. Preseason's going to be starting up pretty soon, right? Like that's some exciting stuff. Gotta love that, man. But we look at just like a few weeks, like a week or so. But we look at today's topic, and again, appreciate you guys being here. Appreciate you guys tuning in. And if you haven't, if you could please subscribe to the channel, you could do so by clicking on the logo in the bottom right-hand corner of the screen. That'd be much, much appreciated. So what we're going to be talking about today is we're going to be talking about who you think the Jet starters will be, right? We're going to look at this roster. We're going to talk about it together. So I appreciate all you guys there, all you guys tuning in. We're going to be part of it like we always do. It's going to be a conversation. So I'm going to tell you guys what I think. We're going to go through who I think, the starters are going to be at each position. And as a bonus, I'm going to give you guys the depth as well. But I also want you to tell me what you think. So please chime in, please tell me what you're thinking, excuse me. If you're thinking that, there's another guy you'd like or another option, you want to bring up a fact or something, please let me know. Bring it up in the comments. Again, appreciate all you guys being here. So we start, obviously, again, like I said, I'm going to give you what I'm thinking first. We're going to start with the quarterback position. Obviously makes the most sense, right? So quarterback, obviously Zach Wilson, right? I mean, Zach Wilson's QB1. That's obvious. Doesn't even need to be discussed. Too many people are questioning the potential of what this kid's going to have. And you guys know, we've talked about it a lot. You've heard it from me before. Man, Zach Wilson has the potential to be great. And Joe Douglas is setting this kid up for success, right? He's been building the roster right. My apologies. I'm going to put my phone on mute. My apologies, you guys. Excuse me. But he's setting the team up for success. Joe Douglas, unbelievable drafts, right? Killing it. Surrounding Zach Wilson with talent. And we're going to be talking about that. Again, with who the potential starters could be. But QB1, Zach Wilson, man. And Zach Wilson, he's ready to break out. This is a breakout potential season for Mr. Zach Wilson. He's coming in again with that roster primed going into his second year, right? We looked at, many made the comparison of like the Cincinnati Bengals, right? We looked at the leap the Bengals made with Joe Burrow, surrounding him with talent going into his second year, playing significantly better, right? So you guys coming in, appreciate you guys. And again, as I, mentioned before, with the Jet starters, and me telling you what I think, I want to know what you think as well. So, please chime in the comments. Let me know what you're thinking. Happy to throw it up. But we're talking about Zach's obviously QB1, right? Obviously QB1. And again, poised to take off. This is a breakout season again for what Joe Douglas has surrounded Zach Wilson with, the talent level that's on this team, the ability on this team, everyone going into second years, Robert Saleh going into his second year, Mike LaFleur finally getting it together toward early middle of last season, it really coming together strong, him going into his next year, Zach Wilson, man, this is going to be a breakout year for Zach Wilson because, again, the team is ready, the coaching staff's ready, but he's ready. As we know, see, my dog even agrees. My dog even agrees. But as you guys know, he's ready. Zach Wilson's ready to take the leap, right? He's dedicated. He's always learning his craft, right? Always, the words we're always talking about, right? He's always learning. He's dedicated. He's getting better. Even Mike LaFleur mentioned, right? He said that the biggest thing Zach needed to work on, and we talked about it the other week, was remember his feet in his eyes and the timing of where the ball was and being in the same location. So Zach's primed to break out, man, and that's QB1. But, to go through the other positions as well, who's going to be QB2? So other than, and again, I want to hear what you guys think as well. So other than Mr. Zach Wilson, we have only two QBs on the roster right now. We have Joe Flacco and Mike White. So I think they'll probably keep all three. I think they're going to keep all three. It makes the most sense. They did that last year. Again, it's good to have a veteran presence. But at the same time, if you guys remember, way early in last year, I was saying Mike White QB2, man. I was like, this kid showed a lot of potential in the little bit that he played, like with the Cowboys and stuff. Barely got any opportunities. I really wanted to see what he had. If you guys remember, it was really in the draft process that I talked about, when he was coming out of pretty sure it was WKU, Western Kentucky. They were interviewing him and they asked him a question about a football IQ question. And his answer was like, It was like a Chad Pennington answer. It was like, I was like, man, like this is a later round quarterback. Like he gets it. Like, wow. Like he was making everything like perfectly. So I like Mike White as QB2. Maybe it's Joe Flacco. It could be Flacco, the veteran. Either way, I think they're keeping both. And you guys, tell me what you think. So again, appreciate you guys. Got Dark Soldier in the comments, shouting crew. Appreciate all you guys. Bring your comments. Let me know what you're thinking, please. So, excuse me. Obviously, Zach is QB1. And again, primed to break out. This kid could not be more, right? The team is stacked. Joe Douglas has surrounded him with talent, and he puts in the work. He has the ability. He has what you look for to take his game to the next level. And again, like people compare with the Bengals, could be a leap like that, baby. Could be a big year. Remember, we talked about it. I believe it was just the other week or so. I was on a show as a guest, and somebody asked me about, how many wins the Jets could have this year. And I talked about how in the first year, remember, we talked about cautious optimism. A lot of guys in their first year wanted it to be really good, but we don't know, right? It may take a little time to develop, like what Mike LaFleur might look bad at times. We even hear on my own show, remember, I don't deny stuff. I admit it. The show still exists. Me and Greenbean had a long conversation of, is Mike LaFleur the guy? Because at that point in time, things didn't look that good. It was questionable, and it made you wonder. We worried things like, oh my God, is he going to ruin Zach Wilson? But it took time for things to develop. But now, as we talked about, second years, man, Zach in his second year, LaFleur in his second year, Sal in his second year, everyone new in the system buying in. Like Bryce Hall even said, I love it. Remember when Bryce Hall, there was a lot of things that were said in this offseason. But if you guys remember, I mentioned this one a lot. We got Jets gang out there. Appreciate all you guys. Appreciate all you. The biggest thing he said, remember, was they asked him about culture and Robert Saleh. He said this 100% reminded him of what he had at Iowa State. Right? He said that there's 100% of culture here, and you feel it when you come in. There's an energy, there's an intensity, there's a feeling of what you need to do. If you don't put it at that level, you don't belong here. That's what Bryce Hall said. You either buy in or get out, and he loved that. So, man, Zach's primed to break out. I think potentially, again, going back to the quarterbacks, I really like Mike White as QB2. And again, just without going too much into it, when you think about a QB2, and if you guys remember, I mentioned it when I talked about Mike White. And again, feel free to agree, disagree, tell me what you're thinking. A QB2's job he's not the QB1. He's not supposed to come in and be a 4,000-yard savior. The QB2's job is to be able to come in, understand the system, understand his players, how they line up, understand weaknesses, advantages, take advantage, and be competent and play well. If they go 50-50, that's actually not the worst thing. And again, we're talking about a QB2. If a QB2 comes in, God forbid, and again, nothing's happening to Zach, so we don't even have to worry about that. QB2, QB3 ain't seeing the field. Those two guys ain't seeing the field at all, right? Zach's come back beefier. Zach's stronger. He ain't letting that crap happen again. He's ready. He's shown, again, the dedication to his craft. So, and my dog's about to bark, guys. So she agrees as well, showing the dedication to them. Excuse me. To his craft. So, again, QB2, QB3. We got Jets gang. And I appreciate you guys. Let me know what you're thinking. Jets gang says, I'm cool with Flacco because he can help Zach more. I think, even if he's QB3, he's still... And if you guys remember, I said it with Flacco when we first brought him in. That's never been his persona. Like that's the thing with Flacco, and I accepted that when we brought him in. He's not Josh McCown, right? Like we're hoping that he'd be like that guy that's gonna be a mentor, and he's not that as much, right? He's never been, right? He's always the kind of guy who wants to start. Maybe that's changed. Maybe now going into this year, we haven't really heard that much from him about that. Maybe that mentality's changed, right? He's not young anymore. He knows it's pretty much over. We look around the league. These are all young, electric guys. They're taking off. There's not really room for him. Guys like Roethlisberger that he used to compete with are gone. All the guys that he used to compete with are gone. So maybe the mentality is changing. Because if you guys remember, again, when we first brought him in, I was like, this guy ain't a mentor. He's not a mentor. His job is to come in and win and to come in and try to be the quarterback. That's what he wants. Maybe that changes. I'll give you that. But maybe that changes this year. But again, being older, having a different perspective, knowing Zach's the guy. Like Zach's unequivocally the guy here. Like it ain't going to be me. Maybe he comes in as more of a mentor. That would be awesome. That would be awesome. So Dark Soldier kind of, chimes in as well. Says, I wasn't a fan of Flacco. I wasn't a fan of Flacco, but he was a me kind of guy. But now it looks like he accepted his role. So that's kind of what I'm saying. So that would be nice. If that's the case, that would be great. Because we know Joe Flacco's a talented quarterback. He's won a Super Bowl. He's taken his teams to the playoffs multiple times. He knows what he's doing. He's not the greatest, but he's not bad by any means. So he's a good mentor. if he finally wants to take that role. And I kind of agree, Dark Soldier. I'm with you, man. I think he's, again, going to come at it like that. Because, again, you look at it, it's like he's got to see, you know, all these quarterbacks, the Kyler Murrays, the Josh Allens, just these young, emerging guys. Not him. No team's looking for a 40-something-year-old guy to be their savior anymore. Unless you're Tom Brady, it doesn't work like that, right? So, I mean, I hate to say it. Sir Robin points out, you know, shout out to all you guys. He says, I fully expect consistent progress from Zach's last game. I agree, man. We're going to see excellent progress. I can't wait. Man, this team is stout. This team is so freaking talented. The talent is just so much higher, even just last year, right? I've said it before, and I stand by this. I believe that the Jets' last 2 consecutive drafts will probably go down in history as 2 of the greatest consecutive drafts back-to-back ever. Like, look at the talent we got in these last 2 drafts. Just unbelievable what Joe has done. So, you know, back to the Flacco situation. I like Mike White as QB2 because, again, I feel like he showed enough to be that, right? He looked dynamic. He led the team. They believed in him. They believe in him as a leader. He can lead them. He can throw well. He can win games, right? He's not going to be Zach. He's not going to be great. Some people say he still could be. I mean, it's possible, right? But he can win games. He can play well. He's good in the system. That's what you want from a QB2. So I kind of like Mike White as QB2. Joe Flacco as QB3 / extra help for Zach Wilson, like you guys pointed out. Like, you know, like extra voice, like extra, you know, did you see it this way? Or, you know, when you made that throw, maybe you weren't thinking this or you didn't see something, right? But so that's how I look at the quarterback room. So again, you guys, please let me know what you're thinking. So that's the quarterback room. Onto the running back room. Bryce Hall, man. Bryce Hall is going to easily be the guy very quickly. And of course that's the case. Like, most positions have to be earned, and we're going to talk about that. Most positions need to be earned, but running back's a unique position where you get a lot of carries, right? Let me rephrase that. That a lot of guys get a lot of carries. That a lot of guys in this offense get the rock and carry the rock and move the ball. So even if Michael Carter starts out, you know, even with Bryce Hall in the beginning, I mean, I think Michael Carter could break out potentially. You guys know how I felt about Michael Carter. Michael Carter comes out and looks freaking great, and he's, you know, getting almost 40% of the carries because he's looking so good, then so be it, right? But man, Bryce Hall, we know what he is. This is a guy that Joe wanted to trade back into the first 2, and that's what we have to look at this as. Joe Douglas used 3 first-round picks, and he was ready to move more picks to come back into the first to get Bryce Hall. That's the talent level we're talking about. You guys remember I mentioned it here. Last 2 years, 1,500 rushing yards both years, 20-plus touchdowns both years. And in the receiving game, he hasn't done that much. But when you watch him in the receiving game, you're like, man, he needs to get the ball toward him more. Like, this dude makes one-handed catches like he's a wide receiver. His routes are pretty legit. It's crazy. So, man, Bryce Hall could explode onto the scene. So I truly believe it's going to be a 2-headed back between Bryce Hall and Michael Carter. And even if Michael Carter starts out with more carries, it ain't going to last. Bryce Hall is a special talent. And again, there's a reason Joe is trying to trade back into the first to get Bryce Hall. So we look at the running back room. We look at who we got in here right now. I don't know why. Here we go, running back. So looking at the room, I'll be honest, I really like Zonovan Knight. I hear the things that guys like, and again, please, you guys, you know, tell me what you're thinking, chime in, give me your comments. I like Zonovan Knight. I like the way he runs. I like what he did in college. I liked him at North Carolina, watching him. Michael Carter says a lot of great things about him, a lot of great things. So he's a guy that I keep my eye on, right? NC State, my apologies, that's North Carolina. What he did at NC State was very impressive. I really enjoyed watching him. So I wouldn't mind if he could sneak on the roster as a 4th guy, but then you hear, you know, that some like guys like Michael Carter were praising guys like Zonovan Knight, but was also praising LaMichael Pirine, right? He was praising both of those dudes. So I want to say Tevin Coleman stays as the 3rd guy. I want to say Tevin Coleman, the veteran, stays. So it's really between Ty Johnson, Zonovan Knight, and LaMichael Pirine to take that 4th spot. I think that's what it's going to come down to. You're going to have Bryce Hall, Michael Carter is the main 1-2 punch. You got Tevin Coleman, which remember, Tevin Coleman wasn't a bad 2-punch last year. So having Tevin Coleman as a 3-punch is pretty good. Between Johnson, Knight, and Pirine, I would say, again, Johnson's had a few years to show. Pirine's been around. Again, I'll be honest, I'm keeping Knight. I mean, I feel like Pirine, again, just my opinion, I feel like Pirine has had his opportunity, and he really hasn't, and that's what's weird. It's like, I feel like, and you guys might agree with me, it felt like every single week P. Ryan was inactive, right? Every week, it's like we thought he might play. We're like, this is the week he's not on the injury report. Inactive. Every week, inactive. That's not a good sign. So the fact that he's just not playing, the fact that he was literally just inactive, I don't know. Look at that. He's been around a while. Again, Ty Johnson, not a bad back, but again, been around a while. I like to give Zonovan Knight a shot. I'd like to say, okay, let's see what the rookie can do. Because again, we got Bryce Hall, we got Michael Carter, we got Tevin Coleman. Why keep one of those? Again, just my opinion. You guys may disagree. Please let me know. Why keep one of those older guys that's had a few years as that fourth back? You know that, again, Hall, Carter are getting the majority of carries. And if they don't, it's probably Tevin Coleman. So I say keep Zonovan, right? Maybe Zonovan shows himself. Maybe Zonovan gets an opportunity week 1, week 2. They give him the rock, 45-yard touchdown, right? You never know. So that's my 2 cents. I don't know what you guys think. I say, again, it's the fourth running back, right? He's not really probably going to be seeing the field that much at all. Why keep the older guys? Give the rookie a shot. Give the rookie a nod. So that's my 2 cents. Again, please chime in. You guys want to let me know in the comments. Let me know what you're thinking. So that's my running back room. We got a 4 running back room. So now we move on to wide receiver. So we look at wide receiver. The obvious top 2 eventually, and I do want to say eventually, are obviously going to be Garrett Wilson and Elijah Moore. However, excuse me, I know many people want to plug Garrett Wilson immediately into that wide receiver 1 slot, which I get it. Considered the top draft pick. Again, top wide receiver prospect. I didn't have him as the top wide receiver prospect, but get it. Again, his catchability is insanity. If you look at him at catchability and catch radius alone, then yes, he's the best wide receiver in the draft. If you look at it just by that, then without question he is. Because this dude is like, just put it near him. I think it's going to happen, but like we all know, in a Robert Saleh team, nothing's given, right? You don't give something away. So I do think Elijah Moore, who again could be a wide receiver 1, right? We felt that. I felt that. I honestly agreed. Last year we talked about it. I thought Elijah Moore in the beginning of the season might be a little small to be a wide receiver 1. But like I was thinking, he might be a little tiny, might not, be the right size. But excuse me. So I see your guys' comments. Well, I could throw them up in a sec. But, just quickly talking about Elijah Moore, I thought he was a little small for that wide receiver 1 spot, but I feel like he proved me wrong last year, right? We talked about that. He was matching up one-on-one against some of the top corners in the league, right? Like matching up, looking great, going back and forth. And some of those weeks, it took a little time to come on, but out of that whole season, we've talked about it. Out of all those 77 receptions he only had 1 drop. He was unbelievable, really, as a rookie, considering the limited time he had. When you factor that in, he was great. So we appreciate your guys' comments. See what you guys are saying. Defense wins championships. Appreciate all you guys saying Elijah Moore on the outside 100%. Without question on the outside 100%. But I do think, again, people are going to figure, oh, well, if it's 1 guy out there or 2 guys, it's always going to be Garrett Wilson. Well, I think it's going to be Elijah Moore a little more at first, possibly 2, right? I do. So defense wins champions chums in. He thinks Elijah Moore, Garrett Wilson, Corey Davis, Braxton Barrios. You got Corey Davis twice, though. So maybe Corey Davis replicated himself. That's possible. I mean, I wouldn't mind that. If we could have Corey Davis twice, that's pretty cool. I think you met Mims, possibly. But so on to the wide receiver room. I think Garrett Wilson's going to eventually, and again, please, bring your comments. Let me know what you're thinking. Please, bring, let me know. But I think Elijah Moore, again, could be a wide receiver 1. He's proven that he could be in the past. Denzel Mims is what I thought. I'm with you, brother. That's what I thought. I figured you met Mims. But so we look again at the wide receiver room. Again, Garrett Wilson will eventually become that guy, but nothing's given, right? We know in this Robert Saleh offense and this team in general, nothing's giving, everything's earned. I think Elijah Moore will get the majority of nods, and Garrett Wilson will start out as more of a wide receiver 2. I think they're both going to be on the outside, but I think Corey Davis could be alternating with Garrett Wilson as well in the beginning. I think of the 3 of those guys, I mentioned it on Twitter, and I've said this is really exciting, and defense wins championships brings this up. Between Elijah Moore, Garrett Wilson, and Corey Davis, think about it. The Jets have 3 wide receivers that have the potential to have 1,000 yards, right? Corey Davis, we talked about it last year. Joe Douglas pointed out that if he hadn't gotten hurt and he kept the trajectory he was going, he would add 1,000 yards. And we had an episode, if you guys remember, if you guys hadn't checked it out, it was just the other week. We had an episode on Corey Davis talking all about that. Excuse me. And, that he, could have a really big bounce back year. But man, Elijah Moore, primed to break out, man. Primed to break out. And Garrett Wilson has a ton of potential, right? He's got to stay healthy. We talked about it, just like with Elijah Moore in his rookie season. Hate to say it, biting tongue, rookies get banged up, right? Rookies get knocked around. It happens, right? It happens. We know that. That they miss some weeks sometimes. It takes time to acclimate, right? Elijah Moore did struggle the first couple of weeks. He wasn't terrible, but he struggled a bit. He didn't break out. He was great toward the end of the year. When he was healthy and he played, it's like, damn, and that's what I'm talking about. If Moore can take off where he started, where he left off, man, this is exciting. So then you got Elijah Moore, potential wide receiver 1, potential 1,000-yard wide receiver, Garrett Wilson, eventual wide receiver 1, going to be eventually potential 1,000-yard wide receiver, and Corey Davis could be that too. And the other beauty of all three of these guys, they can play anywhere. They can line up, all three of them can line up on the outside. They can line up more on the inside. They can line up in the slot. They can line up anywhere. They can literally go anywhere. They're all interchangeable and versatile. And as Mike LaFleur pointed out, versatility is key in this offense. So you have these three guys that all have the potential to be excellent and are all interchangeable around that offense. Good luck. Good luck. And then you talk about the rest of this room. I do agree with defense wins championships. I agree that, Braxton Barrios, obviously we're keeping him as the slot guy. Obviously we paid him for a reason. And he's an outstanding he's an outstanding guy to have brought back because great locker room guy, right? Great character, really started breaking out last season, right? Last season, first year with Zach Wilson, had his best season ever, still a young dude. So Barrios in the slot, man, could also have a big year. And so could Mims, right? We've talked all about Mims in the past, right? How, excuse me, how last year, obviously, the sickness was an issue, right? We talked about how last year was an outlier, right? That a lot of his issues that he had were not understanding the playbook and stuff. He looks healthy this year. He looks like he's ready to come back and prove everybody wrong. Who knows, right? This wide receiver room looks exciting. So I think you obviously got, Elijah Moore, Garrett Wilson, Corey Davis as your top three. Then you got Braxton Barrios as your slot guy. Then you got Denzel Mims as reserve. Then that's interesting because so far now you got 5. I think the Jets would keep 6, maybe 7. I think 5's a little light. So out of all the other guys, and I'll be honest, I was really hoping to see like Calvin Jackson break out. You guys remember I talked about him on Twitter maybe it was like maybe like a month and change 2 months ago. Really liked this kid, like where he comes from, his pedigree, what he did in college. I liked his potential. So he was one. I mean, maybe Calvin Jackson preseason, right? Maybe Calvin Jackson starts to show a little bit when the pads go on in the preseason. Maybe Irvin Charles shows a little bit going into the preseason. All different ideas. There's so many different guys that could be kept. A lot of guys that I do want to mention, Jeff Smith's been on a lot of people's radar. People are saying Jeff Smith looks really, really good. And some even feel like Jeff Smith could take Denzel Mims' spot. So maybe it's a room again. Obviously, more Garrett Wilson, Corey Davis, Braxton Barrios, and really Mims, because again, Mims is going into his 3rd year. He was a top pick. He looks really good right now, right? He's been looking great and strong and healthy in the offseason. See, he's kind of a lock too. Again, being a former Joe Douglas draft pick, maybe he can prove himself. Joe's not going to take away the opportunity of him letting him prove himself. That's what he wants to do, being one of his draft picks. So I think those 5 guys are a lock. Maybe the 6th guy is Jeff Smith. And maybe the 7th guy is a guy like Calvin Jackson or Irvin Charles. But honestly, none of those guys have really shown anything. So honestly, I think they keep 6. I'll be honest. I think they keep 6 and they'll just keep Jeff Smith. I think that'll be the room because honestly, I'm looking at it. I mean, Calvin Jackson probably going to be practice squad. Same thing with Irvin. DJ Montgomery, probably same thing. I mean, none of these guys have TJ Black, Tariq Black, all these guys, none of them have done anything. Keyshawn Abram, all of them. None of them, they've been bad. I mean, no one's saying they look bad, but none of them, again, pads are going on. Preseason starting, right? That's what's exciting. In preseason, all these guys, think about it. The Jets have Keyshawn Abram, a rookie. Tariq Black, 2nd-year kid. Irvin Charles, rookie. Calvin Jackson, rookie. DJ Montgomery, 3rd-year guy. These are all young guys. Maybe one of them shows in preseason, right? Zach's going to be hot. So maybe one of them lights it up, gets open, looks good. So right now, I think, again, that room is those 5 are locks. I think Jeff Smith's probably going to come in as that 6th. But again, those other guys, let's see what happens, right? Let's see what happens. Let's see what they can show, what they can prove when the pads go on, when training camp starts, when the preseason begins. Again, maybe one of those guys does something special. One of them breaks out. So the tight end room. Here's what's interesting to me. I've been seeing in some places, maybe you guys, and again, please, I always say, please, let me know in the chat, comment, let me know what you're thinking. I've seen some Jet articles lately of people saying the tight end room was a little uncertain of who the starter was going to be. And I was like, I don't agree with that. I've been seeing that a little bit. I've been seeing some people saying, well, the tight end room could be one of those rooms. We don't 100% know. I don't agree. I do not agree. I think Tyler Conklin is massively, massively slept on. And you guys know, I've mentioned it here before. What he did last year, you have to kind of look at as a rookie season. Because again, he didn't play much those first 2 years, barely if any. In fact, I don't have it up right now, but I'm going to bring it up just to prove my point of what I was explaining. Here we go. In his first 2 years, he has 5 receptions, 8 receptions, and then in 2020, he gets 19. There's no judgment there. Like, between all those years, he barely has 30. Like, that's insane. Last year was like a rookie year for him, his first opportunity getting to start. He freaking killed it. His 61 receptions were more than any Jets tight end has had in the last decade plus. Had almost 600 yards and 3 touchdowns. So again, looking at that as a rookie year, man, Tyler Conklin's posed to take off. That guy, good blocker, excellent speed, good lateral ability, great hands. Checks every box. When we even signed him, I'm like, I can't believe I overlooked this kid. I was looking at all the top blue chip tight ends, and Joe Douglas is like, I'm going to show you guys. I'm going to show you guys because I'm Joe Douglas. And that's what Joe Douglas does. He shows us. I was like, shit. So Tyler Conklin is pros to take the hell off this year. And CJ Uzomah is a guy that could be good for 400, 500, 600 yards. If Conklin breaks out and has a 800 plus yard year, and Uzomah has 600 yards. Dude, that's beautiful. That's amazing. I love that tight end room. And you can't forget about Jeremy Ruckert. What I like about this is there's no force. There's no push to make Jeremy Ruckert be the guy immediately, right? There's no throw him to the wolves, be the tight end and save the day. Conklin's there. Uzomah's there. I like that. That gives Ruckert time. Maybe, week 3, week 4, hell, maybe week 7 or 8, Ruckert breaks the hell out, right? Ruckert has a freaking 8 reception, 100-yard game, breaks the hell out. Jeremy Ruckert's arrived, right? Well, that would be great. So I love this because this room, again, looks beautiful. This room went from last year being one of the weaknesses of ours to an absolute strength. Again, Tyler Conklin, do not question this kid. He has the ability to be awesome. He last year showed in his first year starting that he could almost pretty much be as good as any tight end. So now going into his second year, basically, being a starter, excuse me, working with these guys, feeling really confident in the system already and saying that, feeling that he says he feels very good in this system in the way they're going to be using him. Man, I'm excited. Tyler Conklin could have a total breakout year this year at tight end and be, who knows, maybe one of the best tight ends in the league, right? Then again, you got Uzomah, and maybe Jeremy Ruckert over time comes, right? So that's my room at tight end. I say keep 3, right? I don't want to go too crazy. You got, again, you want to keep roster spots for other positions that you need more of, right? Conklin, Uzomah, Ruckert, that's a beautiful room. That is a beautiful, beautiful room in my opinion. So tight end, you keep it with 3, looking good. Moving on to offensive line. So with offensive line, going across, the offensive line, we'll get to the backups second. I have at my left tackle, George Fant. Left guard, Laken Tomlinson. Center, Conor McGovern. Right guard, ADT. And then right tackle, Mekhi Becton. So I'm actually going to bring it to you guys later in the week, and I'm going to mention at the end of the show as well. I'm actually going to be, and I'm excited about this. It's pretty awesome. I'm actually going to be going away to visit my parents in South Carolina, which is pretty cool. Taking the summer to go see them for a week. It'd be nice to spend some time with them. I actually haven't been able to go down and see them in a while. They came up recently, but I haven't been able to go down and see them in a while. So I'll be going down tomorrow. I'll be gone for a week. So as you guys know, I normally bring you, Jets content throughout the week. Try to bring you some stuff. I'm going to try to bring you some videos, maybe Wednesday, as time goes, maybe Thursday, possibly. Try to bring you some videos there. But I will be away for the next week visiting my parents. So again, leaving tomorrow, and I'll be back the following Tuesday. But I do appreciate all you guys being here. Again, please, if you haven't, if you could subscribe to the channel, that'd be much, much appreciated. So again, we look at this offensive line. We look at the tackles. I always want my blindside tackle. And I appreciate, all your guys' comments. We got Iowa Jets fan. Here we go, man. Appreciate you being here. Appreciate all you guys. So again, bring your comments. Please tell me what you're thinking. Appreciate all you guys being here. Appreciate you tuning in. Appreciate you subscribing. Appreciate you being part of the conversation. If you haven't heard an Iowa Jets fan, if you could shoot the link up in the in the chat, he'll actually give it to you guys. Iowa Jet fans trying to raise some money to get himself to a Jets game. Wants to get himself from where he is in Iowa to get to a Jets game, come to MetLife. I think it'd be awesome. I'd love to see him there, man. So he's gonna, if you can, Iowa Jets fan, if you could just he'll post the link in the chat. I believe it's a GoFundMe, I believe. So if you guys click on that, you can donate some money, help Mr. Iowa Jets fan come to a Jets game. I don't remember if you could tell me as well. I love talking with you guys. Let me know in the chat. I love the conversations. I don't know. Is it your first Jets game? Let me know, man. Is that your first Jets game you're going to be going to? If you get out to, or is this like, a later game, like maybe when you were a kid or something? Let me know, man. Love to hear it. But coming back to the offensive line, throwing that back up. Left tackle has got to be George Fant, right? Got to be George Fant, right? George Fant, I feel, because you want your blindside tackle to be your best pass blocking tackle, right? It makes the most sense, right? That period, right? You want your best pass blocking tackle to be protecting your quarterback's blindside. And last year, and I'm gonna, as I mentioned, try to bring you guys some shows throughout the week. But again, I'm gonna be going away to my parents. I will try. Do promise, we'll try. But But I do, I do, want to enjoy my time with them and stuff. So I will be going away for the week. I will be away, but I will be coming back next Tuesday, and I plan to bring you guys as much Jets content as I can. Love and appreciate all you guys being here. But again, I want my best pass blocking tackle on the left side. So George Fant, as you guys remember, and I said, I'm going to bring it to you guys. I'm going to have an episode just talking about George Fant. That'll be one of the episodes I bring you guys because he doesn't get enough credit. What George Fant did last year doesn't get enough credit. It really doesn't. He was one of the best pass blocking tackles in the whole NFL, literally in the whole NFL. Doesn't get enough credit. So I've mentioned it. One of the episodes I'm going to bring you guys is going to be all about George Fant. We're going to talk about what he did last year, how freaking impressive that was. Because again, George Fant does not get enough credit for what he did last year. So again, Mekhi Becton coming back at right tackle. Obviously, we talked about the Wade situation. As you guys remember, I brought it on Twitter as breaking news, brought it to on here as well, that Duke Manyweather, his coach, said that, pivot quick, we got an Iowa Jets fan pointing out, it's a GoFundMe. He said, YouTube won't let me post the link in the chat. He said it's in his Twitter profile. So there you go. Sounds good, man. So yeah, so please check it out, guys. It's his GoFundMe. He couldn't post a link, but if you go to his Twitter profile, you'll be able to see it. He's never been to a home game, but he's been to Soldier Field twice and watch us lost. We got to do it, man. We got to get him here. So guys, do what you can, whatever you can give. If you can give money to the GoFundMe, again, go to Iowa Jet fans Twitter page, help him out, get him to a Jet game, right? Get him to his first home game. That'd be awesome, man. That'd be so cool to come to your first home game. I remember I used to go a lot with my dad and my grandpa when I was a kid. It was the best, man. It was the absolute best. Like I talk about all the time and, just pivoting a little, going off topic. It was more about the experience, man. Like I say all the time, like those older games, I remember the players. I don't remember every aspect of the game and every play, but I remember hanging out with my dad. I remember throwing the football around in the parking lot. I remember, having hamburgers or sandwiches and chatting and talking. Man, it was good times. And I think that's what it's about, the camaraderie, man. It's about the family. Football is family. Let's get Iowa Jets fan to his first home game. Love it, man. Love it. Defense wins champion, says you got to get going. I understand. No worries, man. Appreciate it. Appreciate the subscription to the channel. Again, all you guys, if you can subscribe, if you haven't, be very appreciated. Trying to get up to 1,000. That's the goal. A little bit away. That is the goal. Hoping to do that. If you could, let your friends know, whoever can, if you could subscribe to the channel, it'd be very, very much appreciated. So talking back about the offensive line again a little bit. And again, please let me know, right? Please give me your comments. Like, again, like Iowa Jets fans doing, like defense wins championships. Excuse me. All you guys point out, love to. I was going to reach out to Steve, my man. I was actually going to reach out to Steve. So appreciate you bringing up Jets Lounge, man. Appreciate that. Love to talk football with you guys. I actually do plan to reach out to Steve when I get back. And I definitely want to get some of that stuff going. Because he's an awesome dude, man. He is an awesome, awesome dude. Doesn't get enough credit for what he does to the Jets community. Really, really does. But I appreciate it, defense wins champ. I appreciate it, man. Appreciate all you guys. But again, talking more about the offensive line, you got George Fant. I want him on the left side. I mean, I know people say, Makai's young, but George Fant, man, again, if he can be an excellent pass blocking, why not, right? It was his first year in that system. It was his first year really playing full-time left tackle. Why would he? And we saw in this offseason, he's been working out. He looks stronger. He looks like he's in better shape. Why wouldn't he be as good as he was last year, if not better? So I like him and Mekhi Becton on the edges. Again, we mentioned Mekhi Becton, the whole weight thing. I mentioned, Duke Manyweather pointed out, remember, that Mekhi Becton every day said that what he's doing every day from, I believe, I forgot the exact time. I think it's 4 a.m. It's pretty early. Every morning at 4 a.m., Mekhi Becton for an hour straight with Duke Manyweather is pushing and pulling weights. He's actually pushing and pulling sleds. Every morning at 4 a.m., he's pushing and pulling sleds with Duke Manyweather. Freaking awesome, man. So obviously, again, he's shown up overweight, right? I'm hoping that's going to change, hoping he's going to get in shape. But if he can come back to what he was as a rookie, right? If he can come back to that play level, man, that'd be awesome. So again, we talk about Mekhi Becton and George Fant. Could be an outstanding tackle duo, right? And Laken Tomlinson, who was a Pro Bowler, and will be a Pro Bowler again, and AVT, who's going to be a Pro Bowler, eventual potential Pro Bowler. Man, we mentioned Conor McGovern is the weakest link on that line, and I love that, right? That's freaking awesome. If Conor McGovern is the weakest link on your line, you're doing something right? Like that's so, because Conor McGovern, as we mentioned before, right? He's not a bad center, right? He's done very well when he doesn't have to worry about anything else, right? But we saw last year, beginning of the season, when GVR was really bad, when he had to do more than just his own assignment, he wasn't as good, right? He struggled, his numbers were bad. So if he's the weakest link on your offensive line, that's not the worst thing. You guys know I felt, I always wanted a new center, but this offensive line now, again, with McGovern being the weakest link, ain't too bad. So you got George Fant, maybe Mekhi, but I think George on the left makes the most sense. Then you got Laken, McGovern, you got AVT, and then you got Becton. So we look at the depth on that offensive line quick. Interesting. I would say maybe personality alone, maybe Dan Feeney would stick. So far we have 5, right? We have left tackle, left guard, center, right guard, right tackle. We have 5, probably keep about 3, 4 more, right? I would say 3, 4 more. So I would say, based on the list, again, it's interesting, right? We saw last year, Parker Ferguson looked really good in the offseason, right? Grant Herman's looked really good in the offseason. Be interesting, right? Yeah, so obviously I think Max Mitchell makes the team, obviously. I really, really like Max Mitchell's potential. As you guys remember, we've talked about Max Mitchell before. His freaking potential, man, he has the potential to, I look at what he did, his numbers don't equate to the draft pick he was. It's crazy. Got Dom there. Appreciate all you guys. Hey, fam. Appreciate you, man. But we look at what Max Mitchell did in college. Man, his numbers, he was one of the better tackles in all of college football. In fact, I'm going to bring it up right here to show you guys, to point it out for a sec. And for some reason, I don't see it. I see a lot of quotes from him. And again, the quotes from him are really good. But the numbers, I don't know why I can't. Let me try this. There we go. Okay. So Max Mitchell in 2021 had a 94.8 overall PFF grade, which was first among all tackles, had a 95 run blocking grade, which was the highest graded run blocker in all the FBS, and was the Sun Belt Offensive Player of the Year. I'm like, wait a minute. It's crazy that he was such a late pick. He has the potential to really develop. He could develop, because as we mentioned before, the reason, offensive linemen that go high, all the ones that go high, they're ready to play immediately. Offensive line is one of those positions. Excuse me. As you guys know, we've talked about, offensive line is one of those positions where, the best guys go first, right? Well, obviously best guys go first. What I mean is the guys that are NFL ready go first. That's what I meant. The guys that are NFL ready go first. The guys that are ready to go and play week 1 they go high because that's rare, right? Offensive line is position needs adjustment, right? We've seen that so much, especially by Jets players. Throw an offensive lineman in when he isn't ready. It's going against defensive linemen, edge rushers that are in a whole nother stratosphere than what they've seen before. They develop bad habits. They develop bad technique. It doesn't go well at all. So offensive line, I think, again, just because, again, Dan Feeney hasn't been good, right? When he's played, he hasn't been good, but he's got an awesome attitude, right? He's a great locker room guy, right? Like, people like gravitate. He's got a good attitude. So I don't know. I mean, it could be interesting. I think it could. Obviously, the one I will say that will stick, so the two, sorry, are Max Mitchell and Conor McDermott. I believe Conor McDermott, again, especially last year with that touchdown catch, he really helped his case, man. Conor McDermott showed his versatility. A former, I think it was high school tight end. I think he was a tight end in high school, I believe. But man, comes in 300 plus pound dude, makes that awesome catch. And I've always liked him. I've actually always liked McDermott and felt that, that he had potential. So I think Conor McDermott and I think Dan Feeney and Max Mitchell are probably going to be the reserve offensive linemen. But again, that can change, right? Like we said, the pads are going on. Training camp's going to be starting soon. Right now, you don't know anything about offensive line. Ask anybody who knows football. They'll tell you. You can't get a gauge on offensive line before the pads go on. It's not possible. It doesn't work. They're going more through timing and tempo and cadence and working on their footwork and their handwork and their technique. You need to wait till the pads go on before you can assess offensive, really even defensive line at all. You can't assess any of that until the pads go on. So, man, I think it's obviously starting five. You got from left to right, you got Fant, Tomlinson, MCG, AVT, and then Becton. And then, excuse me, on reserve, I think obviously Max Mitchell, Conor McDermott, possibly Dan Feeney. So that's what I'm thinking there. Now we look at defensive line. We look at the edge, and we've talked about that, right? That's an exciting position, right? Because that's the position. And appreciate all you guys there. Appreciate all you guys tuning in. Tom's there. We got, Tom saying, hey, Dark at Dark Soldier. Appreciate all you guys. Iowa Jets fan, all you guys, bring your comments. Let me know what you're thinking, what you feel, defensive line wise as well, or position wise. But man, we look at the defensive line. That's the bread and butter of this team, right? Really the whole defense, but kind of the whole team as well, right? This defense is predicated on the pass rush. And obviously, offense is important, right? Quarterback matters, wide receivers matter, but you can't win without a defense. So the defense is important as well. The pass rushes we've talked about a lot. I've said it blue in the face, right? That the pass rush is the bread and butter of this defense. And Dom points out, edge real deep, and we're gonna talk about that. So, we look at the defensive line position, man, it's a stout position. It's really, really stout. So we'll start with, let's do this. Let's start with the edge position. Let's do that. So we start with the edge. Obviously, Carl Lawson back. Can't wait for him to break out, man. We had, again, a whole episode on him talking about when he comes back from injury, he comes back better, stronger. His best seasons have been when he returns from injury. So, man, you got Carl Lawson back. Michael Clemens, obviously. You got Jermaine Johnson. I think they keep Vinny Curry. And I think here's the thing. It's so deep at edge. Maybe they keep Jacob Martin and they keep Bryce Hall. And maybe we keep 6 edge. I know that's a lot. And please, tell me what you're thinking. I know that's a lot. That is a lot of edge rushers. But it's such a deep position. So again, Carl Lawson, obviously lock. Jermaine Johnson, obviously lock. Michael Clemens, obviously lock. Vinny Curry, you want to keep for that veteran presence, right? And you just pay Josh Martins. I can't see Josh Martin getting cut. That would just be weird. We just paid him in free agency. So Josh Martin and Bryce Huff's looked really good, right? Bryce Huff has been hurt. He's been knocked around. But when he's been healthy, he's looked really good. Excuse me. Excuse me, guys. When healthy, he's looked like a really decent edge rusher that has a lot of potential. So maybe we keep 5-6. I'm thinking that. I really, really do. So that's what I think we're doing on the edge. On the interior, I've talked about it before. Obviously, you got Quinnen. And man, Quinnen gets those double teams. And like John Franklin Myers says, he's going to win his one-on-ones. So if Franklin Myers is winning his one-on-ones, maybe they're going to have to double team him a little bit. Man, they're going to be eating in there. Quinnen and JFM, that's a sexy duo. That is a really exciting duo on the interior there. Maybe maybe a little bit in the run, but mainly in the pass. In the pass rush, that is a really exciting duo. So obviously you got Quinnen. Obviously you got JFM. Two of them locking it down on the inside. And here's what's interesting. I would honestly say maybe we should cut Sheldon Rankins. And I'll see what you guys think. So we look at the interior again of that defensive line. You got Quinnen, you got JFM. Next, I think you got Solomon Thomas, right? You got Solomon Thomas on the interior of that defensive line there. I mean, I think they brought him in for a reason because as we've talked about here as well, he's looked really good on the interior of the defensive line, right? Without getting into the whole story. We know that's what made him great in college. That's what got him drafted high, right? Saleh used him wrong, paid for it, right? After he left the Niners, he's looked really good on the interior. I think Saleh wants to make it right. So, man, you factor in him on the interior as well. So you got Quinnen, you got JFM, you got Solomon Thomas. I think you keep Jonathan Marshall next. And if you're keeping 5 or 6 edge rushers, you can't keep as much interior defensive linemen. So I'm honestly saying if we're going to keep Carl Lawson, Jermaine Johnson, Michael Clemens, Josh Martin, Vinnie Curry, and Bryce Huff on the edge, if we're going to keep all those guys, and again, edge rusher is important, right? The edge is one of the most important parts of the pass rush, especially containing the edge on the run as well. We haven't been able to do that over the last few years. So now that we have a really good edge room, if we're going to keep that many edge rushers, maybe we only keep a couple. Maybe, again, we only keep Quinnen, JFM, Solomon Thomas, and I like Jonathan Marshall. I really do. I feel like, again, Joe Douglas drafted Jonathan Marshall for a reason. You guys, I've mentioned, when we watched him, he has a rare combination of really elite strength and speed. He's very quick and fast for a guy that's as strong as he is. And we saw last year, plays in his first preseason game, gets the game-winning safety. Right? Like I really like his potential. So I'd like to see, again, a guy like Sheldon Rankins. He's had his chance and he's making a lot of money. Guy like Nathan Shepard. He's had his chance, right? These are two guys, they've had their chance to shine. It's kind of the same reason you guys remember going back to that running back room. I wanted to keep Zonovan Knight as the later guy because, again, just like this, you got Quinnen, JFM, and Solomon Thomas. The guy you're keeping next is more of a reserve. So why pay Sheldon all that money? And Shepard, again, everyone tells me that the coaching staff loves Shepard. Everyone tells me the coaching staff loves Nathan Shepard. Well, that can be the case, but from what I've seen on the field, I do not like Nathan Shepard. And that's just a fact. I will stand by that. From what I've seen on the field, I do not like Nathan Shepard that much. I don't think he's that good. I think he should be cut. I think we can move on from Sheldon Rankins. Keep those guys on the interior, right? Maybe stash a guy like Smart on the practice squad or something, right? So that's what I'm thinking for the interior of that defensive line. And again, let me know what you guys are thinking, chime in. So the linebacker room. You guys remember I mentioned about the linebacker room. It's a bit of I wouldn't say underappreciated, but maybe underseen would be the word. Not underappreciated because last year they did struggle. Underseen is probably the better word. Because remember, as we talked about last year, the linebackers were playing cleanup. The defensive line couldn't contain shit. That's why, again, I love that CJ Mosley and Quincy Williams were two of the best tacklers in the NFL last year. But that's because they had a lot of tackling to do. So if the defensive line's a lot better, those two guys are freed up to play more in pass coverage, to have more ability in the backfield, to disrupt plays more. And CJ Mosley, we know what he does. We've talked about how PFF has just disrespected the shit out of this guy. He is a baller. He is a leader. He is an absolute game changer. So CJ Mosley, 100%. And then Quincy Williams, man. Quincy Williams, remember, he's super fast. We talked about it, right? Super fast, flying all over the field, excellent agility, great tackler, great hitter. Biggest question mark was coverage. But he showed he was pretty good at that last year, right? Not great, but he looked better. He looked better in coverage last year. And again, with a better defensive line, that will free him up even more to potentially be better in pass coverage. So you got CJ Mosley. Where's my linebackers? There we go. We got CJ Mosley. We got Quincy Williams. What I think happens next, and I know a lot of people like DQ Thomas. I know there's a lot of people out there that really like DQ Thomas. But here's the thing. I do feel like Jamien Sherwood and Hamza Nasruddin will get the nod over him because they were draft picks. They were draft picks. They were Joe Douglas draft picks from just last year, and they can still prove to be the guys, right? They were both hurt. Jamien Sherwood actually looked really good last year as the Mike. If you guys remember, I was all excited about Hamza. I'm like, man, I can't wait for Hamza. Like, I cannot wait for Hamza. So Iowa Jets fan, appreciate, he says, calling the linebacker room a question mark outside of Mosley. Mosley's amazing. We have no idea how the rest of them will play. That's fair. I know a lot of people feel that way. Mosley is amazing. Everyone feels that way, right? CJ Mosley is amazing. But I do feel like Quincy Williams will prove himself, man. If we look at it last year, Quincy Williams said that he came in last year, in the middle, like not in the middle, but came in during the season. He said he shadowed, that's what he said in the offseason. In his interviews, he said he shadowed CJ Mosley. He shadowed him, learned from example, watched what he did, watched how he hit, watched how he played, watched how he talked to the other teammates. And Quincy said this year, now he's ready to step into a bigger role, to step into a more active role, to be more vocal, right? To be more of a leader. Again, he's always been pretty good at everything but pass coverage. He really has been. And I felt last year, you look at games like the Saints games, other games as well, especially when he's not playing cleanup, when the pass rush is better, I feel like that linebacker room, has some potential. So again, we come back to Jamien Sherwood. He came in as the Mike last year. I was more excited about Hamza, but he looked good, right? Jamien Sherwood looked pretty damn good for the few, 2 weeks or so he played before he got hurt. A shame he got hurt. He was out for the year, but he looked like he had potential. Hamza Nasruddin, if you guys remember, he was my steal of last year's draft. He was my biggest sleeper in last year's draft. Love this kid's potential. Had 190-something tackles across 2 years. Dude's a monster hitter. I was like, man, you guys even remember. Excuse me. You guys even remember when we drafted Sherwood and the Jets said they took him as a safety to play linebacker? My even immediate response was, you know what? I like it, but I kind of wanted Hamza. I wanted Hamza more. And then we got Hamza. So Hamza really hasn't even gotten a chance to show anything. Jamien has a chance to show, again, when healthy, looked pretty good. And then you got guys like DQ Thomas, who some people are high on, right? He's a rookie out of Middle Tennessee State. He's been turning a couple of heads. Delshon Phillips, an older guy as well, but turned a couple of heads last year. So there's some potential in this room. But again, I think Jamien Sherwood could be being slept on because when he played, he looked very good. So Jamien Sherwood could step back into that Mike role. And if he steps back into that Mike role and he thrives like he did in limited play last year as a Mike linebacker, man, that frees CJ Mosley and Quincy Williams up to roam the outsides, right? To play the outside, to disrupt the backfield, to get back there, to play in coverage, to play all over the field, to show off their speed and agility. Oh, man, we got a special treat. We got Jeremy here. What's up, brother? Appreciate all you guys. I appreciate all you guys tuning in. Appreciate all you guys being here. Yeah, my friend, New York Sports Working Media, we did start a little while back. We started back. If you want, just so you guys know, we started 7. We started 7 p.m. every Monday. I would love for you guys to be here for the whole show. So again, it's every Monday, 7 p.m. I did mention, though, that I'm going to be going away, which I'm super excited about. I'm going away to visit my parents in South Carolina. I'll be leaving tomorrow. I'll be gone for a week, so I won't be bringing you guys a show next Monday. But other than that, every Monday, and I'm going to, as you guys know, bring you content during the week. But yeah, man, appreciate you being here, Jeremy. Appreciate you coming in. What's up, buttholes? Jeremy comes in with his zig. He's got his zinger in there. So shout out to Dom. Dom points out, Salah really loves the kids in the linebacker core. Sherwood and Nasruddin are still learning how to play. It'll be interesting training camp for them. 100%, man. That's exactly what I'm saying. I couldn't agree more. And again, we look at this linebacker room. It was hard to get a good gauge last year because we saw they really didn't get the opportunity to do everything they needed to do. They were doing what they needed to do and more. That's the problem with, as we talked about, when the pass rush and the run contain and the defensive line in general just isn't there. It doesn't work. So again, Sherwood really looked good, right? I thought it was going to be Nasruddin, but Sherwood comes into the Mike last year and he looked solid. He looked pretty damn good as a middle linebacker for those few weeks. Again, Nasruddin's still learning how to play. Maybe DQ Thomas could be the guy. Be interesting to see. But I do know would say the locks for that room are Mosley, Quincy Williams, Sherwood, and Nasruddin. Those are the locks for those rooms. Because again, those other two guys were draft picks. Quincy and CJ, for the reasons we talked about, obviously are locks. Excuse me. But that's 4 guys. They may choose to potentially keep, also Delshon Phillips, right? Because 4 guys for a linebacker room is not really a lot. So they may keep Delshon Phillips, maybe DQ Thomas, right? Maybe, I don't think Marcel Harris. I'll be honest. I don't think Marcel Harris. Could be wrong. But maybe Phillips, maybe DQ Thomas, possibly. We'll have to see. Be interesting to see. Excuse me. Jeremy points out, Iowa tried to steal my zinger. I'm taking it back. I appreciate it. Alvin Harris, the most positive guy. I appreciate it, man. I actually believed him when we said he was excited to visit his parents. That's funny, man. I actually am. I am, though, because, they live all the way in South Carolina, and I haven't got to see him that much. That's the thing. Like, they moved. It's been a good while now. I mean, they moved a good, 5-6 years. No, 4 or 5 years. They moved a good 4 or 5 years back, and it was, literally right before COVID, so it's been tough. Haven't really been able to get to see him, especially didn't get to see him as much during COVID. Wasn't able to travel as much. I've seen him a little bit, but I actually haven't been able to been down there in a long time. I actually haven't gone down in a while. So I'm really excited to go down and see him, man. But New York Sports Work and Media says they still say DQ eventually finds his way onto the active roster. It's very possible, man. It's really, really possible. So, again, I do believe, obviously, again, Sherwood looked really good in the limited time he played before he got hurt. Nasruddin didn't get an opportunity, but again, my steal of last year's draft. Loved it that we got this kid. I was like, man, this kid's going to be great. So still a lot of potential there. So those 4 guys, Mosley, Quincy Williams, Sherwood, Nasruddin are locks. But maybe DQ Thomas, right? It makes sense, right? Delshon Phillips, another guy, he's had a couple of years to show, right? Other guys, obviously Marcel Harris has had his time. Javen White, you could argue, has also had his time. I like to keep the young guys, especially in those later positions. See what they can show. So, yeah, maybe DQ Thomas stays as that 5th linebacker. That'd be interesting to see. So, we move to the cornerback room. That's another one that I think is also going to surprise a lot of you guys. So, Sauce Gardner is without a doubt going to be an outstanding, elite starting CB1. However, that doesn't mean he's going to be starting CB1 on the outside immediately week 1. We have to remember, just like we said before, Robert Saleh's very specifically said, nothing on this team, offense, defense, doesn't matter. Excuse me. Nothing on this team is given away. No position is given away. Everything is earned. It's not, oh, you were drafted to this and now you have it. And if you remember when they asked Robert Saleh about basically, I think it was maybe Connor Hughes. I remember somebody asked Robert Saleh about just giving Sauce Gardner the outside spot, and he immediately reacted the same way. He said, we don't give anything away. Everything is earned. And he went on to praise Bryce Hall. I do want to point that out. When asked if it was going to be just given to Sauce Gardner, he took the opportunity to praise Bryce Hall and point out all the things that you guys know I've said, right? I've been saying for a long time. I've been saying, Bryce Hall is slept on, right? Bryce Hall is slept on as an outside corner. So don't get me wrong. Sauce is going to be amazing. Sauce is going to be great. But in the beginning, it might be a rotation, right? It might be Bryce and DJ starting on the outside with Sauce rotating in for Bryce, or maybe Sauce rotating in for DJ. The point is you have all 3 of those guys, and all 3 of those guys are going to be rotating in. All 3 are going to be playing. Yeah, maybe as the season goes on, there's a good chance that Sauce and DJ are going to primarily be the guys. That makes sense, that as the season goes on, Sauce and DJ will solidify themselves as the outside guys. But I do want to say, don't sleep on Bryce Hall, because you guys remember the numbers I've given you and the things I've pointed out. Bryce Hall has taken every opportunity he's had and run with it. Every opportunity he's had, they throw him in, he takes off, right? They throw him in at CB1, he takes off, right? We showed that his numbers last year, things he did, his 16 PDs, his PDs in single coverage, a lot of the things he did ranked him as one of the best corners in the entire league. Yeah, he's not an interception guy. We talked about that could develop, right? Excuse me. He's a young guy, right? That could totally develop. He's only going into his 3rd year, but He's a shutdown corner. He's proven that he is. So, man, Sauce Gardner's eventually going to be that guy on the outside. Lockdown, elite corner, one of the best in the league. We know what Sauce Gardner is. We know what Sauce Gardner is going to become. But again, nothing's handed out on this team. So he might earn it. He might earn it by week 1. But there is a decent chance, and I think we could see a rotation. We could see a rotation between Sauce Gardner, DJ Reed, and Bryce Hall. And depending on how they play, will probably alter how that rotation goes. Now, on the interior, of course, you got Michael Carter II. But I do want to point out Brandon Echols is also so last year, Brandon Echols played on the outside as an outside corner, but he could play in the slot. Brandon Echols has ridiculous 40 speed. His 40 speed is like 4.3 something. He's got ridiculous ups. That's the thing. He's only 5'10", and a lot of people thought, he might be too short to play on the outside. Brandon Echols jumped a 42.5-inch vertical. Brandon Echols jumped at 5'10", what most receivers jump at like when they're 6'4". Like, it was crazy. So Brandon Echols showed last year he could play on the outside, but he can be on the inside. Brandon Echols is just as athletic. In fact, he's arguably, actually he is. Brandon Echols is faster and more athletic than Michael Carter II. That is a fact. Brandon Echols is faster and more athletic. So you got Sauce, DJ, and Bryce on the outside. Michael Carter II, remember, last year looked to be having an amazing rookie season. Remember, we talked about it. Obviously, it didn't go the whole way. But in the beginning of the season, remember, in the beginning of the season, a lot of people were saying Michael Carter II is having a rookie year like Darrelle Revis, right? People were saying that. So, man, you got Sauce, DJ, and Bryce Hall on the outside. And again, Sauce could 100% earn, the number 1 job by week 1, but I'm just saying it may not happen yet. Again, I have no doubt in my mind that he is going to become elite, and he will be that shutdown CB1. But like we said, nothing's given, everything is earned. So it could be a rotation between Hall, DJ, and Sauce, and that ain't a bad thing. And then you got Brandon Echols and Michael Carter II on the inside. I've said it before. I dare teams. I dare them to throw against us. I dare teams to throw against us and see what happens. So our cornerback room is already, and it's going to prove to be one of the best cornerback rooms in the entire NFL. And again, you got Sauce, DJ, and Hall, all guys that can play on the outside, all shutdown guys. And then you got Brandon Echols, who was shut down on the outside, and now move him to the inside where he's fast enough and athletic enough to do that. And you got Michael Carter II. Dude, that's a room. That is 100% a room. So those are 5 guys right there. I would say the Jets would keep 6, maybe 7 corners. So out of the depth, I'll be honest, Isaiah Dunn looked really good before pads went on, but he didn't look good during the season. So I think Javelin Guidry gets that other nod. So I think Javelin Guidry will get it. And this may surprise some people. But I think that other position could go to Rashad Wildgoose. I'll be honest. I think Wildgoose has a lot of potential. I like this kid a lot. Again, he's a young dude. I like him. I feel like he's another guy that could line up inside or outside. So that's a little bit of a sleeper for me. I'm going to throw that one out there a little bit. That's a little bit of my sleeper. You guys remember, I say, comment in the chat. Let me know what you're thinking. But that's a little bit of a sleeper for me. I think Rashad Wildgoose could maybe sneak into this roster as one of the later corners. But again, you got obviously Sauce, DJ, Bryce Hall, Brandon Echols, Michael Carter II. Locks. Those 5 are locks. Isaiah Dunn could get the nod, right? But I feel like he needs to show a lot more because he didn't look good with the pads on. I think Guidry's a lock too. I do really like Javelin Guidry. Javelin Guidry proved last year that he can also play outside. I thought he was more of a slot guy, but he showed last year he can play outside. So Dom points out Justin Hardy will make the CB room, even though he'll never see it down on the defense. It's true as special teams. It is true. And I was going to add that. I'm glad you brought that up, Dom. That's why I wanted to throw that up. I was going to bring up that Hardy's going to make it as a gunner. Because as you guys remember, a gunner is really important. We've seen Justin Hardy's one of those guys that's in your face the second the return guy catches the ball. Like he's flying down the field like a bolt of lightning. Like he prides himself. Like even if you talk to him, it's almost like he knows he'll never play corner. He's like, he knows that I'm a gunner. Like, this is my job. This is what I do. So I think it's going to be a room of, again, those 5 guys I mentioned before, add in Guidry, add in Hardy, and maybe Dunn or Wild Goose. That's what I'm thinking. Maybe Dunn or Wild Goose in that other spot. So we move on to the safety room, which, as you guys remember, I also pointed out, just like the linebacker room, a room that people are not fond of, but they should be more. They should be more fond of because, again, the safety's job is we've talked about this, right? 1,000% alleviated when the corners are looking great. When you have an elite corner room where all Brandon Echols, even Brandon Echols maybe, but DJ Reed, Sauce Gardner, and Bryce Hall, all 3 guys that can lock down a receiver without help needed over the top. Think about that. The safeties don't need to be really helping the corners. It alleviates them to play more run support, to play more in the backfield like Jordan White said he was going to do. Jordan Whitehead said he was going to be more vocal. He said he's going to be like a center fielder in the backfield calling things out. That's what you want. So people, again, so Jeremy points out, no way we have room for Guidry and Wild Goose. I think it's interesting. You know what could be interesting, like, just pivoting back to the CB room for a second, what would be interesting is if maybe Hardy doesn't make it, right? Maybe, I don't think that'll be the case. Again, I don't think they're going to want to get rid of the gunner on special teams. But again, we see those 5 guys are locks if they really like Guidry. And maybe they do really like Wild Goose. Maybe. And again, Wild Goose is a wild card. We haven't really seen that much from him. But I like his potential. Maybe that's why I'll put it. I like what I've seen from him in college. I like what I've seen in the past. I like his potential. I feel like, he'd be an interesting guy I'd like to see, So like Dom points out, only way we feel the extra DB is if Ruckert starts on PUP. You never know. But most likely, yes. I would say most likely I would agree with you guys. We're going to have Gardner, Reed, Hall, Echols, Michael Carter II, Guidry, and then Hardy is the gunner. That's probably going to be it. But, maybe Wild Goose swings in there. We'll see. I would like to see what he does in preseason. I would like to see him get a couple of looks. Again, we move back to safety. Corner room looks great, right? Corner room looks great. Alleviates a lot for the safeties. Now, like we just said, Jordan Whitehead can play that center field position. He can come up and play run support and clobber somebody and not have to worry about being beaten over the top. So, with Jordan Whitehead being there, and again, underappreciated, the fact that Jordan Whitehead is only getting I think 15 million? It's nothing. 14 and a half. Jordan Whitehead is only getting 14 and a half million. The fact that Joe Douglas is only paying Jordan Whitehead 14 and a half million cannot be overstated enough, right? Cannot be overstated enough. Like, it's just crazy. So we got him for nothing, and he's solid, man. Whitehead's a guy that's going to be roaming in that backfield, clobbering dudes. If you guys remember, I mentioned it. I put a picture out, on Twitter not too long ago showing this guy is huge. He's like LaRon Landry Rick. This guy is going to be decking people. So we already have one safety position filled. So everyone's so worried about safety. We only need one more. We only need one more guy. And out of that one more guy, we have Lamarcus Joyner, right? We have Jason Pinnock. Where are our safeties? Here we go. We have Ashton Davis. We have Will Parks. We have Elijah Riley. Who knows, right? Somebody should step up. I really like Jason Pinnock, and I will say that. My money is on Lamarcus Joyner and Jason Pinnock. Lamarcus Joyner, again, 32 years old, not that old for a safety. You guys remember I gave the Charles Woodson comparison? Excuse me. You guys remember I gave the Charles Woodson comparison. I talked about how, Charles Woodson was one of the best corners in the NFL, started to lose a step when he hit 30. They move him to safety. He's an all-pro safety for like 5 more years because you can play older at safety. So Lamarcus Joyner, only 32 years old, but again, not too bad for a safety. When he's played safety in this league, he has a 90 PFF average. He has been excellent exclusively playing safety in this league. And again, he's 32 years old. But again, look at Woodson, right? Woodson, like we said, transitioned to safety and was an all-pro there. Like we said, Lamarcus Joyner has been excellent when he's played safety. And then we got a guy like Jason Pinnock. Jason Pinnock, if you guys remember, I was super, super high on him in last draft. Super high on this kid. I looked at the numbers Jason Pinnock was putting up. I'm like, man, this dude is a shutdown guy. Like, I like him. He's big. He's physical. He's got really good hands. He showed well at free safety last year. I kept saying, I was like, he's not getting any looks at corner. He's a big dude who's very physical. Let's play him at safety. Well, it was funny. I pointed that out. I think it was like a week later. Jets played him at safety. He looked good. He looked very good at safety. So I would like to see that more. So, man, we just said with the corner room looking really good, the safety's job is a lot easier. A lot easier. Excuse me. Their job's a lot easier. And again, you got Jordan Whitehead, who's going to be murdering people at the line of scrimmage, right? Playing all over the field, playing in the backfield, being vocal. You just need one more guy. Maybe it's Ashton Davis too, right? Ashton Davis, again, has had opportunities, really hasn't stepped up that great, but he's sparked a little bit. He's shown sparks here and there of looking really, really good. So that could be interesting too. So again, we have we have Jordan Pinnock already. Sorry, we have Jordan Whitehead already. We only need one more safety. So again, we got all these guys we could be looking at. I really like Lamarcus Joyner and Jason Pinnock. I think the two of them have the most potential to be really, really good next to Whitehead. And hell, maybe the three of them are really good. And we have a nice, because, you like to play a trio of safety sometimes. Maybe we have a nice trio safety room of those three guys. But don't forget, you still got Will Park. You still got Elijah Riley, who looked decent as young guys last year as well. So last thing we're going to talk about special teams. We move on to our kickers and punters. Where are we? Had them on the list a second ago. There we go. So we'll start with kicker. So at kicker, we have two guys, Eddie Pinheiro, Greg Zuerlein. Now, I know most guys are going to say, let's keep Pinheiro, right? Pinheiro did look very good last year, but let's remember something. Pinheiro looked just as good as Amendola did when we first brought him in. That's something that I don't think gets enough credit. Think about that for a second. Amendola, when we first brought him in, was awesome. Remember, he had like 10 kicks in a row. He looked great. Even I jumped the gun. Remember, I joked with you guys. I was like, we're so starved for kickers because we haven't had a good kicker in like a decade that literally, I was like, we found a kicker, right? I was like, we found our kicker. Our kicker's finally here. He wasn't. He flamed out, right? He was good for a little bit. Well, Pinheiro also was really good, but for a small sample size, a very small sample size. Could he keep playing really, really well and keep being excellent? Maybe. But could he also follow the exact same trajectory that Amendola did? Yes, he could too. Remember, Pinheiro's a guy who has been cut from other teams before. Appreciate you, man. Appreciate you, Dom. Great show. Keep it up. Appreciate you, man. Appreciate all you guys. But we're still going to be talking about the special teams, so don't go yet. Don't go yet. Still talking about special teams a little bit. So we look at the kicker situation again. It's interesting. A lot of people love what we saw in Eddie Pinheiro, but we have to remember we loved the same thing in Amendola for a really good amount of time. Then it tapered off. So again, Pinheiro has been cut from other teams before, has missed big kicks. Greg Zuerlein is not a young dude, but he's been a consistent kicker in the league for a very long time. So if they both look good, I give it to Zuerlein. Honestly, it's going to be a competition. This is going to be a 100% competition between these two guys. Who can earn the position, Pinheiro or Zuerlein? If one of them looks better, if one of them kicks better, They'll get it. But if it's even, or if I had to pick now, I think I would go with Zerline again for those reasons. That again, Pinheiro, don't get me wrong, looked really good. I think he had like 6 or 7 in a row. But we have to remember, so did Amendola. Did the exact same thing. We loved him like crazy, and then he showed that he's not that consistent kicker. And Pinheiro, again, has been on multiple teams. The odds are lower than higher that he's going to be that consistent guy we're looking for. So I'm thinking maybe Zerline. I really am. And at punter, where are we? Here we go. We only have Braden Mann, right? So that's an easy one. We only got Braden Mann. Unfortunately, he was hurt last year. Excited to have Braden Mann back. He played very well. So I want you guys to please tell me what you think in the comments. Tell me what you think. After the episode's over, all you guys, as you know, every week, you guys bring your comments as we talk. Please do, bring your comments in the chat section like you guys did. All you guys, appreciate all you guys. Dark Soldier, Jeremy, Dom, Iowa Jets fan, Braden, defense wins championships, all you guys. Appreciate you guys for tuning in the chat. But as you guys do, if you're watching this episode later on, tell me what you think in the comments. Please go into the comments. Tell me what you think. Maybe you agree with one of the positions. Maybe you disagree with one of the positions. Maybe there's a guy you want to tell me about. Bring it. So please tell me what you think about my positional analysis in the comments. Tell me what you think about my starters and my depth. Let me know if you agree, disagree. Please let me know. Also, again, if you haven't, if you could please subscribe to the channel, you can do so again by clicking on the logo in the bottom right-hand corner of the screen. Be very, very much appreciated. So again, thank you guys for tuning in. I really, really appreciate you guys being here. Love talking to you guys all about the Jets. Love you guys tuning in. Love the conversation we have in the comments, the back and forth we have, the conversation we have. And I love bringing you guys my takes, telling you what I'm thinking. My opinions on the Jets, my feelings, my thoughts. So as I mentioned, I am going away tomorrow. I'm going to visit my parents. So as you guys know, and I will continue to do this after next week. So this week, obviously, I'll be away. But next week when I come back, I'm going to continue to bring you guys those pre-recorded video content throughout the week as well. And as you remember, I mentioned, I'm going to bring you something on George Fant because he does not get enough credit for what he did last year. We'll talk about other stuff as well. So again, check out my pre-recorded stuff and my videos and my channel. If you haven't, I'm going to continue to upload those. But again, I will be away for the week, so I am leaving tomorrow. I'll be back next Tuesday. So again, thank you guys for tuning in. Appreciate you being here. Appreciate you guys chiming in and being part of the conversation. Appreciate you guys again. Take care. Have a great, great rest of your week. Take care. And I hope you guys, I will see you guys when I return from vacation.